Well, perhaps for the second time in a row, I've got to come back and say it's been a frustrating summer at Southend United. We go in today to the Community Shield and a tough first game of the Premier League season. And to be honest, it's virtually the same squad as last year, as we've just not been able to find the right improvements. Yes, hello, and welcome along to part 119 and the start of season 15 from this FM24 story, Saving Southend, with me, Daniel. We begin this season against Arne Slot's Newcastle. He's on the move after his Manchester United sacking, and then against Liverpool on the first day of the Premier League season, a side that prior to last year had been our closest contenders most of the time. We've missed out on a couple of world class signings, and apart from that, we've just not been able to find the improvements. So with the injuries racking up, albeit Newcastle have got one to a player that we tried to sign many a year ago, it does promise to be a difficult start. Our first two away games, Liverpool and Chelsea, and this might be the year. We've had three Premier League titles in a row, and unless we want to try and match Pep in real life, I think this year could be tricky. The push for the Champions League, the push for a first ever Carabao Cup, it's not looking great. But if you're looking forward to this season and seeing what we have done in the transfer window, as well as our opening games, please do chuck a thumbs up on it. Let's go and get straight through to the transfer news because it's been sparse and it's been frustrating. We're going to ignore the one possibly pending deal for now and go straight through to the transfer history because, as you can see in the second part of this new season, no players in, no real players out, bar one that was out on loan last year. And if we go back to the end of last season, yes, we have got three players in this summer technically, but the two first teamers are ones that we'd pre-agreed before. And while they're going to be good additions, you knew about them already, and they're not going to be the ones that completely change this team from where they are to world beaters. So I'm looking at, can we get closer in the Champions League, and bar tactical changes and bar our current squad improving, I don't really see where that comes. We look at the players that did come in. Edward Agyeman is the first of them. £16 million, a right back who, I've got to be honest, is a bit of the reverse to what we've seen a lot this year. I mentioned it quite a lot in the Twitch save with Aberdeen at the minute, where players are being underrated by the scouts. But I actually think this guy is a bit overrated by both our scouts and our coaches. So as a fullback on support, which is primarily what we use, he's rated as a 3.5 star right back, despite the fact he can't really tackle, his passing's poor, his crossing and dribbling's not great. Yes, he's physically brilliant. At the back post, he'll be a superstar, and he's a bit closer to the type of fullback I like. But I'm not sure he's quite as good as he's made out to be. Having said that, the money we've got him for is fantastic, and I'm pretty sure moving forward he's going to be influential. Fletchley Callahan was our latest young gamble. He's come in from United and gone out on loan to Boston. Just want to see if he improves. We've had that with John Nussum, who we got on a free a few years ago, and you may have just caught a glimpse as left for massive money. So maybe it's another one of those where we can make a bit of money without much effort. The other first teamer to come in, though, we'd and ahed about this towards the end of last season. But Aluhu Vite is coming in for 8.5 million. He's a centre half, a young Mexican with bundles of potential, albeit maybe not quite so much now. Got the attribute balance I like, but he is a little bit injury prone and his natural fitness isn't great. So someone we've got to keep an eye on. Personally, I think he maybe can get better than Sanchez, get better than Hansen, and then maybe be up there with Herbert and Rakowski. That's what we've got to hope for. Other than that, though, there have not been any additions. It's been a really frustrating summer. We've lost a lot of young players on loan, which is fine. We lost one youngster who was about to be out of contract for a pittance to Wolves, but we've got to sell on feet if he does really well. And then this season, loads of players out on loan again, and a couple of weird decisions near the end. The first one is we got this massive offer for John Nussum, who we bought in at 18. We loaned out a couple of years. We mentioned how well he's done. He got an England international cap in a championship last year. But then Wolves came in with 35 million guaranteed, a sell-on clause, and also extra money and add-ons as well. And I look at him and I go, yes, he's now a wonder kid. Yes, he's an excellent player, clearly. Is he going to be a world beater? Is he going to be better than, say, Yukalano on the right-hand side or Jorg Robertson? Probably not. Yes, he did a great job for Burnley last year. He's a good footballer. But my God, that is great money for someone we got on a free 2 years ago. Barely kicked the ball for us, two sub appearances, and now look at him. Massive, massive money. The other one who has gone out on loan again, though, is Kieran Peacock, £1 million plus his wages for Sheffield United. Weirdly, prior to that, the only offers we'd got for him were for League One clubs. We put him on a transfer list as well. No interest at all. There's another one, though, who's broken through into that England team. He's above Herbert in the pecking order, but Herbert's a better player. There's a lot that doesn't make sense with how the England international caps are going at the minute. But either way, a very decent footballer. Not quite right for me, and maybe not as good as the scouts and the coaches seem to think he is. That's my opinion of it. I did want to loan out Aguiman for a year and then maybe just see if he developed, but that's not going to be the case. And Newcastle have come in for the fullback who at least fits my style. We signed Gomez last year because he was the best about. He got bundles of yellow cards. He's not great defending the back stick. And we've had an offer for the same money that we bought him for. Now, normally I would accept this and then start a bidding war, but the problem in the case of João Gomez is there's only one club that wants him. So I'm going to have to play this a little differently. What I'm going to try and do is delay it as long as possible, then maybe reject it, and then hope they come back with one bigger offer, which generally these clubs do. And in that case, we'll take a bit off the wage bill, we'll get our money back and then some, and we'll move on what is a good player. But to me, on paper, he looks better than Aguiman, who we've just signed. But Aguiman suits our style better, and he seems to be rated better, which just doesn't really make sense to me. So I'm trying to balance between judging with my own eye, but that defending at the back post and him being 5'7" is such a big thing in this year's FM. So I want to make sure we're in good nick. And on this occasion, I don't feel we have been. So he's going to be the man who probably moves on. So it is pretty much as you were from last year. We've kept Golobeck as the third choice keeper. We've got everyone else that you would have expected us to have. And there's not really many signs of people being wanted. The only one that I've mentioned before that I'd be really happy to sell and think we might is Peter Bernberg. We've promised to sell him for 145 million. He's apparently worth not far off it, and there are clubs interested. So if that comes in, we will let him go, but we'll wait and see if we get it or not. Let's go and get through to the fixtures because we've got two big games to get through today. We've been in two Community Shields and we've won them both so far. Will that change on the third attempt? Let's go and get our 11 picked. It won't be full strength. It'll be with a focus on getting everyone fit. We'll be back in a minute to run through the team as we head to Wembley for another trophy chance. Well, given the issues that we've had with fitness in pre-season, players returning late from tournaments that they've not really featured in, and due to the fact that we're just a little bit all over the place for now, this is a team that is largely back up in areas and is largely focused on fitness. You can see from the starting 11, we've perhaps only got Bernberg and Carr fully fit, and on the bench, we've got people like Jimenez and Ivanov, who are basically just starting their pre-season. Ivanov and Jimenez both had injuries during it, as of course did Yukulano, which is the norm. So this is the team that we've gone for now. We've gone for Logan McNaughton in goal. I will keep Sadler as my first choice league keeper this year, but I'll give McNaughton pretty much everything else by the latter stages of the Champions League. We've got Memic and De Angelis, the fullbacks. Memic now improved to be the best at the club again, with Hansen covering for the injury alongside Herbert. We've got Yukulano and Vasquez out wide with Bernberg and Kivrakidis in the middle. And then up front, Joe Wills almost up to scratch with Ashley Carr alongside him. It's a strong bench. It's a pretty fit bench. They're basically the ones that have made it through pre-season. But today we will get Aguiman a debut. We'll get Jimenez and Ivanov on. And then we'll work around it from there. Well, our first spectator has turned up behind us. So let's go and get into the first game of the season. James Simpson has moved to Newcastle as right back. But is he about to be replaced by João Gomez? They've made the bid maybe to unsettle him ahead of kickoff. He is on the bench for this one. Whether he'll come on, I don't know. Miguel Helguera, a man to watch out for on the left. He's a fabulous player. And Arne Slot has really gone big this window in Newcastle. They're spending money. They've got one original on the bench as well. Not from Newcastle, but one player from the original database. And that is Shelderup, a left winger from Norway who we know has got quality. So let's go and get through to the first half. It's a day for the supporters, not for us. But can we build fitness, avoid injuries while we're at it, and hopefully produce the goods? Let's go to Wembley and find out. Well, this has just about been the most typical Southend United or Load FM Cup final you could imagine. Ashley Carr unfortunately has just picked up a knock, but no highlight until first half stoppage time. A terrible game of football, not much quality, and unfortunately given away a chance there. But Hansen reads the game really well, and he finds Vasquez on the left, who breaks forward. Can we get a goal before the break? Carr's up there. Yukulano will win the second ball. Options in the middle, but he's forced backwards. Kivrakidis will have a chance though. Into Joe Wills. First of the season for him. And there's going to be a lot of pressure on him in the opening weeks. We've got no Kranjic basically till the international break. So he's going to have to make the difference. Joe Wills has done just that though. And at half-time, it is 1-0. Teddy Ivanov will come on because we've got the little injury there to Ashley Cart. We've upset a few by saying don't get complacent. So let's just go and say, I've got faith in you. They're all right. I'm going to take Ashley Cart off for Teddy Ivanov. Might do one in midfield as well. We're not going to learn anything from Bernberg playing more, so we'll bring on Jimenez for him. We've done a good job so far. Arne Slott's club move has not affected us too much. But can we keep it going with two very unfit players on the pitch now? As the ball's headed away from our set piece, but De Angelis will mop up. He's got a chance to go down the left-hand side. Waiting to give Aguiman his debut, but I'd like us to be a bit more comfortable before that. Whether or not we get it, I don't know. As Joe Wills nicks it back. Newcastle on the ropes a bit here. They win it back though, and they've got a chance to break. That back pass wasn't the best, but they've made enough of it. They're trying to play out from the back, and we're pressing them high. Will we be able to nick it off them? If they break through, they're straight at the back four here. As Helguera, Jimenez flies in. Oh, I've brought you on for fitness, and you've got sent off in 3 minutes. What are you doing? Why would you do that? It's scuppered all of our plans. Now I'm going to have to take Joe Wills off. It's not the end of the problems either, because we don't really have a centre midfielder on the bench now. Because the only one we have, we've just brought on and he's got sent off. Absolutely scandalous. Jimenez is someone we were thinking about selling this summer, but we never got the offer we were promised. So I think I'm going to have to go for Hector Sanchez in there. He will replace Joe Wills. We're paying on for some reason. And I'll put Sanchez in the middle there. I mean, I could drop him here, I guess. There's no real harm in doing so from a tactical point of view. We'll have him in as a defensive mid on support, so he's still pushing into midfield. And that will sort of cover for Yocolano to still be aggressive. It's not the ideal start here because we were looking pretty comfortable in this game for Jimenez. That's the second time, actually, isn't it, in 3 years that we've had a sending off for one of those in a Community Shield final. It's a very bizarre game for people to get worked up in. We've got a free kick with Vasquez and we're still making it happen. Hector Sanchez has scored. We've talked about moving him on. Maybe we've just found his best position now. Chuck him in the holding role. Could that be an answer for Europe? I'm starting to get brainwaves here for the Champions League. Could we chuck Sanchez in the holding role? And maybe go for a 3 in midfield, because that is starting to look good. As Yocolano will be replaced by Jorg Robertson. He's not fully fit. Aguiman will come on for Memic because we want to get him a debut. And then it's Vasquez or Kivrakidis for the last one. It can't be Kivrakidis because we've got nobody else. In fact, we get 6 subs, don't we? So I'm not sure what else to do. Maybe we'll give one of the centre-halves a rest. There's not many options about again, though, as Herbert. Skipper inside to Hansen, who's had a really solid game. He goes wide to Memic. Could we make it 3? Could we do the job with 10 men here? We've arguably looked more comfortable and more threatening since losing Jimenez. As Hansen goes inside to Sanchez, finds Kivrakidis. Tactically, we might have found something special here. But Simpson hoofs it away, only as far as Yocolano, but he can't win the challenge. And now Rojas. This is where we do miss it. Only having the one striker up front and one who's not fit as well. As De Angelis gets caught out of position, but was that offside? I hope so. It goes wide. It is offside. It looked it from first glance. Very good defending there. And we're staying in the game. We're doing our job. But what do we do substitution-wise now? With 15 to go. Going to take Vasquez off, who's struggling, for Adamson. And then it's either Carlos or Gomez. It's got to be Carlos, hasn't it? Oh, no, that's 6. Oh, because Jimenez came on. I'm only seeing 5 up there, but Jimenez was one of the subs. What a waste. Adamson on for Vasquez. 15 to go. You're all probably screaming at your screens there. We've been the better team, but we know Newcastle will go aggressive. And in situations like this from a set piece, we've lost an extra player, which doesn't help. As Zanelli goes in, and there is the trouble. The ball's out to the edge of the box, and there's 1 or 2 men covering 3 or 4. That's where you get caught a little bit short. 10 minutes to go. We're going to have to defend for our lives here. I don't want to push back and go too defensive because that will end up costing us. And there are 7 minutes added on. So at what point do I pull the trigger? I needed the time-wasting mug for this. We're going to drop Robertson to a support duty. We're going to drop both fullbacks to defensive duties, which probably suits Aguiman in particular. And then in terms of the other stuff, we're just going to time waste. We'll play for set pieces where we've been a threat. We'll slow the ball down. We'll drop that line of engagement, make it a very compact pitch for Newcastle when attacking. There are 3 minutes of stoppage time to go. It does still take the pressure off getting the Community Shield on board. And we have. A trophy on the board for the third year running. The Community Shield is won. A good performance from the boys that were on. Jimenez might have put the final nail in his coffin. I was trying to replace him this summer, and one of the players we did miss out on was a really world-class midfielder. Unfortunately, he didn't agree terms with us, but I'm looking at this now and thinking that's got to be the next priority. For now, though, a 2-1 win for Southend United, in spite of playing with 10 men for most of the second half. And a trophy on the board takes the pressure off for the season, but not enough for me. I want to win something else. Let's go and get the season started with a big four. We start with a Premier League trip to Liverpool. Well, on the eve of the Premier League season, we have decided to make the sale. I didn't gamble with Newcastle in the end because when it came to João Gomez, my question to myself was, am I going to get an offer of this ilk again if he goes the whole season as third choice right back? And the answer's probably no. So we take one for the team. We take the money back that we paid. We probably could have got more, but I'm not going to gamble it. For 56 million in the end, but a guaranteed 42.5. João Gomez moves on after just a year. Well, as we return for fitness tests, with 3 players missing out as expected, we took a bit of a gamble with Hector Sanchez today. He came unhappy about his playing time, so we said, you know what, you can go permanently. He said he wanted to go out on loan. And he said, no, don't worry, I'm going to stay, which is annoying. It would have solved our centre-half problem, but he was the hero of the Community Shield final. Maybe it'll be more important than we think. Let's go and get through to the opening day, though, of the Premier League season via the season preview so we can see what's expected. Well, there we go. Us, Liverpool, Arsenal, the 3 favourites for the title, with City and Newcastle in the mix as well. Villa finished second last year. They're 7th favourites. But we are very much one of the big boys now, which is great to see. But we start away at Liverpool, and as it stands, this is apparently the battle of 2 of the 3 title favourites. Are we going to get another tight battle this time? They've still got Ben Doak, the original. They've still got Junior Krupi, number 10, who is a star in our Aberdeen save, as we know. So let's go and see the 11 we can put out. And I would expect it to be heavily changed from last weekend. Well, due to an absence of available players, I've had to make a few selection calls that I wouldn't normally do. It's a team that's not as rotated as I expected, though I have forgotten to do the goalkeeper. And we've had to chuck a very unfit Kranic on the bench as a last resort because there's nobody else near condition. So this is the team that we've gone for today, and the changes from last week are as follows. We've got Sadler in goal for McNaughton, back to fitness as Premier League number 1, even though the director of football has spent all summer bidding for keepers to replace him. We've changed both wingers, which are Adamson and Robertson, and then Jan Carlos is in at left back to replace De Angelis. Hansen stays in because Rakowski's injured, Carr stays in because Kranic is injured, and Ivo Torres can't get on the bench because he's not quite fit and failed a fitness test. So let's go away to Anfield, site of that horror show, if you remember, in the Champions League last year. They battered us a couple of times, but that one, the 5-1 after extra time to turn around a 4-1 aggregate lead, it was harrowing, it was heartbreaking, and it still sticks in the memory, as you can see. Can we bounce back this time and start our season in style? We seem to have a mix of seasons where we have a great start on paper and then ones where we have a shocker. This falls into the latter category, as Liverpool come into the opening day full of confidence. They had a poor season last year, but this time they'll be hoping to get back on track as they've got an early corner with Ben Doak into the back post again. Ferguson free head up 1-0. It's going to happen again, isn't it? Liverpool are just the one team that keep giving us a pasting. We had it with United about 5 years ago until we got past them in that first Premier League title race. And this time, it's just Liverpool. They seem to be doing it. I don't know if they went and won the Champions League last year. They beat us quite comfortably, didn't they? They did. So Liverpool, awful in the league, but won the Champions League. And that after, well, an insurmountable task against us, which they turned around. They then beat Real Madrid. It just shows you what might have been if we'd managed to hold on there, because Bayern in the final would have been winnable, wouldn't it? Frustrating to say the least. This summer, they brought in a 37 million midfielder who, incidentally, is one of the players I was trying to sign, a 20-year-old who looked a gem. They've let a few go, but no one at first team level. And they also brought in a couple earlier in the window, including I think the best young midfielder in world football. I've tried to sign him twice. He rejected me the first year, and the second year he picked Liverpool instead. So actually, I'm now a little bit more annoyed because I've just seen they've had both of our primary midfield targets from the summer, as Ben Doak has got the ball on the right-hand side. They've started well. They look great. Ferguson, who scored that goal, yet another they took from our grasp a few years back. They did the same with Meza, the centre-half. As Kivrakidis breaks away, can we make them pay for it? Robertson's got support behind him. It has to go back to Hansen, the central defender. Lewis Herbert, the skipper's alongside. But it is possession for the sake of it. We're not moving the ball quick enough. We're looking a little bit like England at the moment, aren't we? As we play out from the back again with Hansen. Come on, put a little bit of tempo to it. Into Jan Carlos and Wills. That's better. One touch to Adamson. And now Carlos. He carries it over halfway. Support from Adamson. Into Wills. Runners inside. Adamson gets there. Kivrakidis to Robertson. Not quite enough width at the minute. Bernberg does look for it though. Adamson's out there. Ball's into Carr. He's offside. You always know if Ashley Carr's finish is excellent, he's going to be offside. There's no way on earth that was on. So I'll wait for it to be disallowed. We won't celebrate just yet. And there goes the referee's hand. 1-0 it remains. A moment, a bit of better football, but still no sign when it's really mattered. Well, not the positive first quarter of this game, but it's been a story of set pieces at the other end. This one, we can't make it count, but we did win the head-up, which is positive. We're going to show a little bit of encouragement here with 20 minutes to go to half-time. And I'm hopeful that we can make something happen as we've got a free kick in a dangerous position, which Ashley Carr is on. I don't think I've ever seen him score one. This time, though, just over the bar. Doesn't get that much closer. To be honest, Liverpool have been comfortable. We've had one header and one free kick. In open play, it's been dominance by the hosts, albeit they've relied on a set piece to score as well. As Buckley carries it from left back, gives it away to Carr. His first touch isn't good enough and it's nicked back. And now Liverpool can go again with Buckley. Beats Carr again this time. Toying with him a bit there. A little bit of overconfidence. As Brook goes back. The chance again to play forward. As Buckley finds Brook into Zaire-Emery. Wills gets back to nick it, but that's not where we want our centre forward. He's got a bit of Harry Kane syndrome as Carr goes back to Hansen. Get up the pitch. Kivrakidis. Flying challenge, but we keep the ball. Bernberg gives it to Wills, who's gone all the way to the centre half. Had a 5-yard pass out to Adamson, but he's worked there in the end. Through ball to Carr. He's on this time. The referee's still checking, but I am far more confident this one's going to stand. And Ashley Carr, in the absence of Kranjic, has got a couple of weeks to find form. And he scored at a second attempt. He held his run this time. And an even first half has now become 1-1 because the last 15 minutes, we've been far better. But now Liverpool, they've conceded. We've awoken the beast again. We've given them a little poke with a stick, but they've given the ball away to Ashley Carr and we can counter. It's where a lot of our goals do come from against the big teams. As Bernberg chips in, Kivrakidis to Carr. He's in again. Not the best first touch, but a second and third are simply sublime. Ashley Carr curls one into the corner. Is he finally going to be the man this year? Season 3. If we could get Carr and Kranjic both in form together, it could be the most formidable partnership in world football, with Joe Wills waiting in the wings as well. It's 2-1 to Southend at the break. We do not deserve that. But you legend Ashley Carr, you're finally having a moment. His career arc since he's moved here, his storyline's been a big story of its own. We could have done an Ashley Carr show. As it is, he's starting season 3 with a bang. If he could get a hat-trick at Anfield, that would be something, wouldn't it? We've got half an hour to go. We've only had 3 shots on target, and 2 of them have been scored by Ashley Carr. But the big threat against us is still set pieces, as that one's bobbling around everywhere. Jude Sadler able to grasp the ball in the end. He was the man that was missing when it came to that Champions League game. As Ashley Carr again from the flick on. Oh, it's sublime. Great save by the goalkeeper, but Ashley Carr is having a moment. Wills just flicks on a long kick, and Carr takes on the whole defence. He's got him scared. As Robertson puts the corner into the back post, Joe Wills is up. Ferguson wins it. He is such a threat in the air. I'm kind of hoping that's what Aguiman will become for us, as Herbert gives away the foul there. I'm happy with that. It was cynical and it was necessary. Let's start thinking about substitutions because we've got 25 to go and we've got a corner. As Adamson looks to the back post, it's punched away well. Robertson gets it back in though. Thought Bernberg was brought down there, but nothing given. Robertson will go down the right-hand side to Adamson. Got both wingers on one side if we can make it count. Why are Liverpool allowed to lunge into challenges? They've done 2 in this game, just like Jimenez. The first one won the ball. That was high. As Hansen finds Bernberg and Adamson. He's got space here. He's worked a chance. It's a great save by Haag to tip it wide. Really working well here on the counter. We're finding those spaces between fullback and centre-half. And we're looking a proper threat. Adamson's corner has got whip on it. But Brooks won the header. It's away for a throw-in. And we can all breathe for a minute. Subs to follow soon. We can't get a break in play. It's Liverpool again from a free kick. Brook gets it wide, but Memic intercepts. Robertson downfield to Ashley Carr. Don't do anything to ruin your day here. Memic, that's a short back pass. No one's there. What are you doing? Sadler gives it to Herbert. I thought Hansen and him were just going to collide there. No one looked up as Wills goes wide to Adamson. Inside to Bernberg, who poaches it above the centre midfielder who was trying to get in there. We beat the press. Unfortunately, though, Doak wins it second time. And Krupi's beaten Hansen, who's out of position. Sarto's in. Big deflection. And a wonderful save from Jude Sadler. He is having a game again today. God, I've missed you, Jude. When you're on form, there is no keeper quite like it. Doak to the back post. It's headed away by Herbert. And now I am going to make the changes. Both wingers will come off. We're going to go for Adamson replaced by Vasquez. Yucolano on for Robertson. And I'm also going to do Memic for Aguiman because he's not had the best game. Herbert's nervous, but he's staying on. And the rest of them, there's no need to change it just yet, is there? I would bring Jimenez on, but any more than 4 minutes is a risk now, as we saw in a Community Shield. And Joe Wills obviously physically is not quite there. So I'll do those for the last 10 minutes. We can see it. Joe Wills has a bruised thigh. We'll bring him off for Ivanov. Jimenez on for Bernberg. And I hope he won't get sent off this time. Can we hold on at Anfield for what would be a magnificent start to the season? Liverpool have probably edged the game as a whole with territory, but we've made the best chances. And Ashley Carr has been a one-man show at times. It's another 7 minutes of added time. And for the final 3 of them, we do what we did in a Community Shield. Defensive fullbacks, defensive wingers, and defensive midfielders. The story of clinging on for dear life. Centre mid on defend for Jimenez. Time wasting all the time. Play for set pieces, slow it down, and drop that defensive line of engagement, please. Let's see if we can hold on for the final 3. We time wasted at Anfield last year and let in a last minute equaliser, but not this time. The demons of that Champions League quarter-final are exercised. It is Liverpool 1, Southend United 2, and Ashley Carr's superb brace wins the day. And we start the Premier League season with a win against the title favourites. That is magnificent in the circumstances. And hopefully we can add 1 or 2 to this squad to make it even more formidable. Let's go and have a look at the schedule, see when we're going to be back. Well, there we go. 3 points on the board, and we're not going to leave it long. Ashley Carr starring again, and we are going to come back around deadline day. I think it will be on the Monday, so we might be all right. The plan is to do Chelsea and deadline day, but if we get another Carabao Cup draw like the last 3 or 4 years, we might do that instead, because the Carabao Cup, still one of the 2 trophies we haven't won yet. And I'd really like to get it in the bag before we can worry about the Champions League. Because when we start getting to the stage where we're worrying about winning that each year, I don't want to then have to think about a Carabao Cup semi and final and playing our first 11. So for now, the Carabao Cup may well be in our thoughts, but Chelsea is the plan for the next episode. Not the easiest away games to start the season. The first 5, Liverpool, Chelsea, Villa, Arsenal and City, all of them in the top 8 last season. If you want to see if we can defend our title and produce more results like that scrappy one at Anfield today, then please do put a thumbs up on the video. Let me know if you agree with me in terms of improving the squad. Do you agree with my decision to let Gomez go? Or should I have not trusted the scout report on Aguiman? And do you think Jimenez and Ivanov, as great as they've been for us, are they the next 2 we've got to replace? I'm starting to think so. If you want to stay up to date and find out how the window finishes, whether we get either of the big targets I'm currently chasing, then please do subscribe and turn that notification bell on. We'll be back in a couple of days' time to find out the answer. But between now and then, we will be back tomorrow as we continue our coach's head save. We've moved over to Denmark in that one. You can find the playlist up in the eye above. You can also find links there to the Twitch channel, the football podcast, and plenty more. Thank you very much for watching. Your support is massively appreciated. And I'll see you back here next time as Southend United aim to sign someone big.